new top-level domain name. So it's mindfulspeech.training, and that's the entire thing.
Okay. Well, we can maybe put mindfulspeech.training on our Ascension.Center, or the one Rich and Suzanne and I started, ACO Radio Club. Wait, it's ACORadio.club. Yeah, folks, just so all you know, we used to do .com only or .com.net. Then we went .com, .net, .org, and then info, and then all of these other dots. But it's opened up the world now, and so now we've got all these dots afterwards. So we're having to listen very carefully to know when you put a dot, another word may be after it. So ours is ACORadio.club, so we'll put this under a separate heading from Ace Folk Life. So we'll put this under our Ascension.Center in our Love and Light community. And hopefully we can get James Tolley and Tommy Hawksblood to carry it under the Maui. We'll have to set up a Hawaii something like Ascension Church Ohana, and get them to hopefully help people with Ohana. So mindfulspeech.training. Did I get it right, James?
Yes, thank you so much. And while we're on the call, I would actually love to offer to your listeners that maybe the top 10 people or the first 10 people who go onto that site and fill in the contact form and ask for a 15-minute free consultation, they can receive that from me for free.
Wow, 15-minute free conversation, folks, on Mindful, Mindful, is that proper? Speech, Speech? Why don't you spell it for everybody, James? And tell them how to spell
That's
your
right.
name as well.
You got it right. Mindful Speech, Mindful, SPEECH.training, and my name is James Tolley.
And Tolley is Tolley?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. Tommy, you want to?
I love talking about this. I just love talking about this. I see the impact that it has in people's lives and their relationships, and it just lights me up for days to be able to offer this. So please let me know if you want to talk. I'd love to talk with you.
Well, I hope you get some callers because our Sunday show, we've been taken off a lot, so we may have to build the show back up. But you heard at least 4 or 5 of them that are regulars. Well, at least I did. I heard them because I know their name. But, Tommy, do you want to start off another question? I would really like to hear more of the Buddhist thing because of the connection between you two, but you're also in Hawaii. Can we address something Suzanne and I are working on, is how do people cross paths? And they may have crossed each other's path and never know it, but I don't know how you and Tommy would do that, but you're both facilitators and you're both in Maui and you both do radio shows and you both have Buddhists in your life. So y'all have a lot in common, but he's got a New Jersey accent. So, James, where did you grow up, and you don't have an accent, or do you? Is it Minnesota, or you want to share that with us?
No, it's not far from New Jersey. It's actually just across the New York border from northern New Jersey. So, grew up in rural New York State.
Okay, Tommy, I can hear squiggly, so I know you're on. Here's squiggly
Okay,
sound.
yeah, I'm here. It's funny because I grew up in Jersey. I lived almost every part of Jersey in about 45 years. I mean, I moved around across the United States, and now I'm in Hawaii. I've been here for 20 years. But, I do have somebody that knows you. I mean, when TJ told me, and because she wanted to come on, and she was going to do a show, but she said, well, let Terrison talk about what they want to talk about. I guess, do you still go to the Maui Dharma Center at all?
Is it Namgyal? Is it Namgyal?
Yep. Yep.
Namgyal.
I was wondering if that was her. Is that your partner?
Yes.
Yeah, we used to meditate together in Haiku on Maui.
Yeah, so I said, we've been together 20 years.
Wow. So, I'm amazed. Folks, I'm shocked. I'm in shock. OMG, that's what I was, Suzanne, did you hear that? Is this not a small world?
Yeah, it always is.
That's
Once
amazing.
take the time and the patience to listen, it's there.
Something
Wow.
that I was, there's the outer connection and then there's the inner connection, because I was already shown I'm going to meet everybody that I have ever been with in any lifetime, in this lifetime, that's still in this reality by the time I leave this world. So I meet people on a job, and they'll start talking to me and get into these heavy conversations. And, I know you. I must know you. And then you go into some things, and suddenly, well, how far in your past lives? You're a Buddhist, and I look at things differently. I'm not like my partner. I spent 6 years of my life working with Green Tara. Then I worked with Shiva, I worked with Durga, and I worked with Manjushri for years, physically, psychically, spiritually, however, in all different levels out of the body. So, I know most Buddhist people do not do it that way in general. For me, I just wanted to ask you, though, like, this is what you do for a living now, right?
Well, I do this for a living. I do this for money, or I do it on a donation basis for people who need coaching and who don't have resources to commit to it.
Oh, that's cool.
But I have another day job.
Oh,
yeah.
Do you really? Oh, all right.
Yeah, aren't you a computer programmer?
Yeah, I'm a programmer, and I'm building. It's very thematically related to the couples communication coach and communication skills in general, but it's on the group scale. So it's it has to do with our media model and how our media model rewards people who are divisive and dramatic, and then we have different voices saying completely different things, and we never actually get into communication with them and have the same conversation. So that's a crisis in society, and I work on that. That's my day job.
Oh,
okay.
Nice.
Years
like
ago,
it,
I've been involved in the UFO world as well, as far as spiritually talking about spiritual things. But many years ago, I met a couple of big name people, and we were going to open a spiritual school. I know there's none in the United States that are really giving people totally everything they need to become a spiritual person or become aware. And we all met at this house that was for sale. It was $1.5 million. But what's so funny, what you're talking about is what destroyed the whole thing. We all stayed there for 3 days. In those 3 days, everybody was fighting with each other, not communicating with each other. It was mind-boggling. And sometimes what I realized, like, I go to the Whole Life Expo. I used to lecture with my friend there, too. And what I noticed, like, Ekankar and Shab Yoga, they attack each other. When you attack somebody, especially when it's close to what you believe in, I don't understand that. If, like, you believe in God, I believe in the devil, obviously there's a different kind of gap bound. But when you believe in the same, leaving the body and all those things, and then you attack each other, it's mind-boggling. So when I went into this retreat, we looked at this house, we stayed there,
Funny.
And everybody was fighting with each other. And something really cool happened to me, but it's totally separate. But, these girls were there. They were thinking about buying this house. And they started crying, and they said, we got to take you in a room. I said, what do you want to do? I didn't have no clue, and they brought me in this room. And one lady started kneeled on the bed, started chanting in native language, and the other girl was translating it while she was anointing my feet. And all these things went down. But it ended. I don't want to say names because some people are just so far from removed from me right now, but it could have been incredible. I thought it would be something that the world would need. But when it just shattered and everybody was fighting with each other, it's just, like, communicate. We're all there on the same goal, same thing. We're going to open a spiritual school. How do you open a school if you can't talk to each other? Like, communication is important in this world, especially when it's physical communication.
James, can you help us out? Because I started a spiritual community on Oahu. I lived over there while I was in the Navy from 89 to 94. But my big claim to fame was while I was there, I ran an ad for Ascension.Center, and Michael Jackson heard about me, and he came and had a couple of readings, and I told him I didn't want his money. He offered me $5,000, which is my normal minimum, and 5,000, folks, is my normal minimum, 5,000 to 15,000. And he didn't. I said no. I refused his money. So by the time we got to know each other, he came back and booked the restaurant for him and me. He said, well, it's like $5,600, no big deal. But back then, even for me in the military, and then I was running a corporation and I had Psychic Network, that was a lot of money. But it wasn't about the money, and I didn't know who I was talking to anyway. They were just in a stretch limo. But he said I could use his name, drop his name if I wanted to, because he understood. He had a nonprofit, and I was trying to build a nonprofit. So we all have like a profit part. And we need to talk about that, James, because communication is, if we're helping other people in service to others, help them be better, we should talk about how do we get a spiritual community together. Now we're in virtual reality, so I've asked Suzanne and Rich to help me, and she's a psychic and he's an artist, and apparently that got a lot of people's attention, so that's good too. But how do you see? Tommy is a facilitator. He did a lot of events on the mainland before and been on television and been in Las Vegas shows. But you, James, I just fell in love with your voice, and I put on here you're a facilitator. Can you help us out here? How would you bring all of us together in a spiritual community and get us to talk?
So TJ, before he answers the question, can I pose one more question to him, to the layering of the question? And
sure.
First of all, I think that your ability to be perceptive with people about what they want to answer and what they want to discuss is in the gift zone. I think that's one of your gifts. So I think one of the great questions that's arisen here in this roundtable conversation is that what is the fair way for spiritual people doing spiritual work to be compensated for their talents? And a lot of people that I work with, I can tell them, go ahead and just pay me the value of my work. And that's because I believe my work has value, and I believe the people that I've done the work for want to give me the value of my work. And I would say that people they give me more than what I would have asked for. And that has become a very rewarding experience. So what is the real question comes down to the exchange of energy, and if money is energy and we're exchanging energy, how is it appropriate to ask to be compensated for our work? How is the appropriate spiritual concept? How's that going to be rewarded? I have faith in it. I step out every single day in my life and act in a place of faith. So, and it works. So, but we're asking a deeper question here, and it brings about a value system, and I think it's by far more difficult than talking about sex or politics, talking about money.
Right. Yeah, it can be. I want to acknowledge you. That is such a beautiful way that you set up your way to engage with that question. You seem to have the answer already. I would be hard pressed to think of a better way to do it than how you've set it up. And I'm so happy for you that you get paid more than what you would ask. It's so beautiful. You must be delivering a tremendous amount of value to the people you work with. It's beautiful.
Oh yeah, that is the part, I think, that in doing spiritual work and finding people that value what you have to give, and trusting that if you tell them, pay me what it's worth to you, it changes the entire dynamic. And I have to say, I've done it for so long. I've done it for so long now that it has worked out. I mean, I worked in public in a restaurant, and people would say, well, how do we pay you? Do we tip you? How does that work? And I said, just give me what it was worth to you. And the secret to doing that when you're doing that in a public format, and I practice that in my private format too, is to never look at the amount you were given when somebody acknowledges you. You don't look at the dollar amount. You give the person the same thank you that you would give them if they gave you $1,000 or if they gave you a $20 bill.